Battle for Dream Island. Ever heard of it? It's a show with extremely mature, calm, collected, and consistent viewers and voters. Obviously I'm kidding, but that's the beauty of BFDI, because even with a not-so-serious fan base, the show has had a consistent rise to fame over the past few years with complicated storylines like no other. But having a young audience always has a drawback. It leads to a finale between two characters, like Flower, a character loved by the creators, and Gelatin, a comically generated fan favorite. But why were those two the finalists, and why did Flower win BFDI? To answer this question, let's take a trip down memory lane, and let's take a look at the cast of BFB's final 14, after the split. First, we have Woody, and I'm not even going to begin talking about Woody, because I'm going to be doing that on my second channel, which you should subscribe to. But next we have Blocky, a meaningless character, who only got screen time because a small fraction of viewers thought he was like a certain TikToker in the news recently. Bubble, again, I already made a video about her. Same thing with Leafy and Fiery. Teardrop's only plot relevance is her voice, and Ruby, Balloony, and Loser were all eliminated early on, so there isn't much to say about them other than the fact that they were kept as balanced characters to make sure there weren't characters that shine brighter than Leafy and Fiery, for example. Speaking of Leafy and Fiery, the creators knew that they probably wouldn't win, which is why we saw their disappearance after BFB 22, but I already talked about that earlier. Spongy was also let back into the show right as soon as he was supposed to be eliminated because the creators wanted to give him a redemption arc, but that didn't work, and I'll talk about that next time. So now we have Taco, Gelatin, Lollipop, and Flower, and I want to talk about how they all indirectly helped Flower win the show. Taco isn't actually a horrible character. She performed particularly well in the show even after the constant stress put on her during the book scandal. But possibly the biggest and most obvious explanation of Jack and Jellyfy's bias towards Flower is back in BFB 22, when Taco and Flower were the bottom two, and miraculously, Flower inched ahead of Taco in votes to save by only one vote. Now, all of my discussion on this topic is alleged, and I don't know for sure what the results were. Only the vote counters of BFDI know the truth, so everything I'm about to say is alleged. That being said, I don't believe the results, knowing BFDI's past history of showing Flower room for improvement and redemption. The fact that Taco lost to her by one vote is too close to believe. My prediction is that the vote difference was more similar to the case of Ruby and Gelatin, where there was around 100 votes between the two contestants. But since people knew the votes were going to be close, but no one knew the results, this was the creators' chance to keep Flower in the game and give her another shot at winning. Taco didn't have much to lose being a new character, but Flower had way more potential at actually winning than Taco. So it was their collective decision to say that Flower won by only one vote to keep from any controversy from forming, and to the most part, it worked. No one really questioned it due to Jack and Jellyfy's history of being truthful with votes, and people just moved on. Again, I don't know the truth of the matter, and Flower could have easily won by more votes, but it was released as only one vote gap for suspense, but I don't know the truth, although, if true, this is arguably one of the biggest turning points within BFDI post-split that allowed Flower to inch ahead of her competition. Now, let's talk about Gelatin and Lollipop, the duo. Gelatin and Lollipop were instant fan favorites in post-split BFB. Gelatin, a goofball, immediately became more popular, and Lollipop, a moody and cunning villain, was getting more and more lines due to her personality becoming adored by more viewers. Putting their contrasting personalities together created a happy medium, giving BFB post-split the fun vibe that it needed. But many people thought of their combination as a forced way to make Lollipop even more popular, and to make Flower's competition, like Bubble, irrelevant and get eliminated. It worked, since Bubble was no doubt eliminated in BFB 24. But people still thought of their newbie alliance business as a forced way to make Lollipop more popular. If you don't believe me, Lollipop literally says that they need more screen time, so they should do a funny dance. Gelatin understands and starts making random moves to look funny in front of the child audience. It's like the writers wanted us to know that the whole Lollipop business was only to increase Lollipop and Gelatin's relevance, which, like I've previously discussed, is important for a character to not be eliminated. This led to Bubble being the only character on the voting screen without a lot of relevance or a strong fan base, so she ended up being eliminated. But how did this help Flower win? Well, in the inevitable outcome, when Lollipop was eliminated, Gelatin was deprived of his core piece of relevance, leading to even his eventual downfall. Gelatin had less involvement with the other characters, so viewers liked him less and Flower more. If you still don't believe me, look at this picture of the episodes in which Gelatin was put up for elimination. He was up for voting for the last 5 episodes of the show, and yet survived all the way until the end, showing how much the creators wanted him gone to give Flower a better chance at winning. When even this strategy didn't work, the creators had one last way that they could make sure Flower won the show. This was painting her as a hero. This was the whole plot of BFB 29. This was it. The deciding factor for who won BFB. Even though there had been countless times where Flower had been proven to be naturally popular, she had been through some close calls, for example, the taco controversy, and having to beat out so many popular characters through whatever means she could possibly use. But by BFB 29, the creators had realized that Gelatin was going to be in the finale no matter what, giving Flower some competition. It was the end of a season that started in 2017, a monumental occasion, and they were not going to let Gelatin beat Flower, so this is what they did. To be honest, I had to brush up on the plot of BFB 29 myself since I didn't remember what actually happened, but you can pick up enough information from the title, Save Our Show. This episode is when the announcer returned and said that BFB was going to be cancelled because of budget cuts, which caused a 23-minute episode, with the challenge being to save BFB from cancellation. The episode ended with Flower eventually being the one to save the show from cancellation with her $50,000 budget. The episode was a major success, gathering over 5 million views, and painting Flower in possibly the best light an episode could have. Funny enough that the episode was right before the finale, Flower literally saving the show plus people starting to like her a lot more right before the finale gave her the automatic win, since she had so much more relevance than Gelatin. Flower accumulated almost twice the votes that Gelatin got, and she was the winner of BFB, and yeah, that's basically it. That's how Flower was indeed rigged to win BFDI through a whole lot of corruption and behind-the-scenes alleged voter fraud. Thank you for watching. You should subscribe. That's all I have to say. Bye-bye.